Sorry for the delay, everyone. My computer froze. Yeah, it was annoying. It was very annoying. So thanks for coming back, everyone. Let's launch Steam. Ossington. Hey, Katie. Sorry, we had to, the PC froze when I was trying to install some DLC. It was very annoying. Let's try and get Twitch in my phone here. So we're going to clean a cruise ship today. What do you think, Oz?
Let's play PowerWash Simulator.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. I love you, Ossington.
Katie, are you there? Katie. You said I was cute.
Ossington, come. Can you sit over here, please? Thank you.
Cuddle.
I know, Cuddles. I'm sure she really liked that. I'm sure Katie really liked that. Okay. Yes, specials. What's going on here? What's going on with my controller? We are experiencing some technical difficulties. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay. Finally, we got the cruise ship and the Halloween house. We'll do the cruise ship. Okay. Are you ready, Oz? Are you ready?
Let's play PowerWash Simulator.
Okay, fair enough. Just see what we look like on screen here. Do we look good? We look good? Does it look good? Are you good? Okay. Oh wow, let's scope this place out, Oz. Wow. Okay. We've got gnomes sitting there. Yes, Katie, we're wearing excellent PPE. Cruise ships are horrible places. I know, it's a terrible mess. Ossington, do you have anything to say to our new guest? Ah, see? He acknowledges your presence. You just assume they're all humans, though. Ah, we do kind of live in a human-dominated world. It's okay for you to assume that they're humans, I guess. Let's get maybe the bigger nozzle. There we go. Nice. Yeah, I know. Human domination. Ossington is very accustomed to being a minority species, aren't you, Oz? Yeah, I know. Dirty. It's dirty, Oz. I know. I'm taking your advice seriously. There we go. Doesn't that look nice? Ossington. Oh. swimming pool? Yeah, isn't that kind of obnoxious how cruise ships have swimming pools on them? I think that's very obnoxious. Yeah, I know. Cruise ships are pathetic, and also, why do they put when humanity is completely wiped out soon, the fact that they put swimming pools on cruise ships, which is again a vessel that's in the middle of the water, is going to come up probably as being incredibly wasteful, to say the least. Yeah, just imagine all the COVID that would be on a ship like this. This summer. So how are you all doing today? How late is it in Europe? How sleepy are you getting? Coffee. Coffee is how you stay awake. Coffee and wine. No, don't hurt yourself for me. First of all, I'd really like to thank Ajani for everything you've been doing for me. I really appreciate it. I might start streaming PS5 games soon because of Ajani's generosity, so thank you very much. No, it's okay. If I don't have a PS5 and streaming equipment here tomorrow, I am gonna freak out. I want my free stuff now. No. You are going super above and beyond already. Like, anything that you've been doing is a lot more than you have to do, so I am super incredibly appreciative. Alright, so the world is really shit right now. Do you want to talk about how the world is shit right now? Or do you want to talk about fun things and distractions? Would you rather the stream be a distraction from the problems in the world, or be a cathartic place to discuss the problems in the world. Either way, it's up to you. I aim to please. Okay, you're all doomed. Well, people are just delighted to kill themselves with COVID, it seems. Isn't that great? Ossington tries to do his best. He posts photos on his Blue Sky account with your respirator, right? And with Millie, the bear who wears a respirator. And the odd time that you're in public with me and I carry you around in a backpack, you're wearing a respirator as well. So you're doing your part while all these humans are sacrificing themselves. And one such human who has decided to sacrifice himself to the plague is my ex-partner of 7 years. Yeah, well, I've probably posted about him. Very sad to lose a 7-year relationship, and my apartment is filled with like mementos of our relationship. And his health is getting worse. He has like non-stop migraines. When I met him, his vision was nearly perfect. He was like 40 years old, and his vision was like nearly perfect. And then, now he's like 47, and the text on his screen is blown up to like super mega large size for him to read. And I just don't, there are a lot of people a lot younger who have problems with reading vision. But to lose that much reading vision that quickly in their 40s is very unusual. Like, it's not necessarily that weird to have bad reading vision like that when you're a kid, if you're an unfortunate kid, My problem was never reading vision. My reading vision is perfect. It's my distance vision. I'm near... Do they call it nearsighted or farsighted? Anyway, I've got like distance vision bad, near vision perfect. Like my vision from like 12 inches from my face is crystal clear. Beyond 12 inches from my face, that's when, like over a foot, that's when things start. Actually, I think it takes like a foot and a half from my face until things start getting noticeably blurry. So I would definitely, if I was driving, I would definitely be required to wear glasses while I was driving, for instance. And it helps for me to have glasses anyway because I would get a bit lost with street signs and stuff like that. But my reading vision has always been perfect. A lot of the times when I'm in bed, I take my glasses off to read or to look at my phone. Anyway, when I met Jason, when I met him 7 years ago when he was 40, his vision was absolutely perfect. And now the text on his phone is blown up at like super mega size in order for him to read it. Plus he has like non-stop migraines. And it's not unheard of for even a child to have like bad reading vision and need reading glasses and maybe need like large print text and whatnot. But it is kind of abnormal for someone's reading vision to go bad like that quickly, just entirely over the course of their 40s. That is very unusual. Isn't it? Like, it's fairly normal for very old people to have bad vision. It's uncommon for young people to have bad reading vision, but it happens, and if a young person has bad reading vision, it usually started when they were school age, right? But it's very weird to enter your 40s with perfect vision and then very quickly have really bad reading vision. Like that just raises like COVID damage alarm bells to me. Yeah. You lost 2 relationships too, or Johnny? Like romantic relationships or friends or both? Yeah, friends. So, I mean, I know probably none of us here are optometrists or anything like that, but I'm not off when I assume that entering your 40s with perfect vision and then having very bad reading vision by 47 is a highly unusual way to become someone with bad reading vision, right? Like I have problems run in my family on both sides. My paternal, like my English grandmother, she had like perfect vision until she was like in her 60s, I believe, or her 50s, probably in her 60s, like her early 60s it started. And then all of a sudden she became nearsighted, and then she developed macular degeneration. Macular degeneration and glaucoma, but mainly macular degeneration was the main cause of her blindness. And so by the time she was in her 80s, maybe in her late 70s, by the time she was in her late 70s, my paternal grandmother was actually legally blind. Like she wasn't absolutely totally blind, but she was legally blind. She was legally blind enough that she was like legally blind, and she had like the white cane thing and whatnot. And it was very difficult for her to adjust because a lot of blind people were blind from birth, were blind from childhood, and for those people, they live very well as blind people because they've always been like that. So they grew up reading Braille. They grew up paying attention to what their ears hear and what they can touch instead of paying attention to visual things and compensating for a lack of vision with your other senses, right? Like I know it's been a confirmed rumor that Stevie Wonder can tell the different denominations of coins and whatnot by just dropping them on a table and listening to their sound. Right? And that's probably not a weird thing. That's probably a very common thing for people who are born blind, and a lot of people who were born blind or became blind in childhood are excellent musicians. There are a lot of famous musicians who are blind, not just Stevie Wonder, right? That's one experience, but because my grandmother didn't become blind until like really late in her life, she couldn't adapt. So learning Braille was a waste of time for her. So she just really got into listening to talking books. She called them talking books. And because most of her experience as a blind old person was like in the late 80s and the 90s, her talking books were on audio cassettes. It wasn't like audible.com or something like that, right? So adapting to blindness was very difficult. But yeah, both sides of my family, macular degeneration, nearsightedness, glaucoma. Last time I went to an optometrist, I made sure that they measured the pressure in my eyeball to screen me for glaucoma, and I still have yet to develop glaucoma, so I'm fortunate that way. I think my mother had glaucoma since she was in her late 30s, early 40s. That's why screening for it is so important to me, because I'm 41 now. So, and that untreated glaucoma can cause a lot of vision damage very quickly. So, plus my dad had type 2 diabetes, my dad had cataracts, my dad had the lenses in both of his eyes eventually surgically replaced because of cataracts. The first time he had cataract surgery was in the late 1980s, and he had a patch over his eye for like a good 6 weeks. And then the second time that he got the lens in his other eye replaced, and it was the mid-90s, it was probably like 1995, 1996-ish. The healing time was much shorter. It was like 2 weeks that he had a patch over his eye, and then he was relatively fine and took the patch off. And it was all because with lasers they're able to make smaller incisions, but like a multitude of eye problems run in my family. I'm actually faring pretty well for not having any significant eye diseases and just having mild to moderate myopia and astigmatism, and that's it, I'm very fortunate that way. But yeah, I grew up my whole life, my childhood, being aware, very much aware of vision problems and eye diseases and stuff like that. Not just those family members I mentioned, I can name a lot more family members that have had significant eye diseases. Cancer, not so much, not less of a problem in my family than most other families. Cancer seems to be very unusual in my family, but I don't want to push my luck, because a lot of the factors with cancer are also environmental, and also a lot of the factors are COVID related. Thank goodness I'm one of these rare weirdos who has never had COVID, because COVID does so much damage to people's cells, greatly increasing their cancer risk. So, you know how they say that in the developed world, back in that glorious part of the 20th century where we had most of the horrible infectious diseases under control eventually, by the time the polio vaccine took off and whatnot, right? I swear my dad has had polio a few times. He's the right age for it. But there was this glorious period, the late 20th century, where at least in the developed world, the really bad viruses, other than HIV is a very notable exception to that rule. But otherwise, and especially to straight white suburbanites who are totally out of the loop with HIV and all that stuff, it seemed like the worst of disease had been eradicated, right? And my parents in the 90s, they didn't call it the end of history, but they definitely bought into that kind of feeling, that kind of sentiment. It really fucked me up, because they did not prepare me for the world at all. So anyway, my point is, when I grew up, I was eye diseases and nearsightedness and all that. Hi, hey, we got someone else here. Society collapse narrator. You fit into the culture of this Twitch channel, because we're all COVID aware people who know that society is collapsing. You got something to say to our new guest here? Aww. Good. He also answers questions if you have them for him. He's kind of sleepy today, though. So yeah, knowing what I know secondhand, observing how people's vision gets worse and various eye diseases and whatnot, it doesn't seem too weird to me for a child to have bad reading vision or bad any sort of vision. It seems really normal for an old person to have bad reading vision, but it seems really weird to me for someone to have perfect vision when they're 40 and then have very bad reading vision when they're 47. And my gut is telling me that COVID is the major factor in that Jason would have close to perfect reading vision now had he not inhaled the plague a few times. I'm someone who often lives by my gut assumptions, and greater than 50% of the time my gut assumptions turn out to be correct. Like, not 100% of the time, I am a fallible human being and whatnot, but I pick up on a lot of stuff that your average neurotypical person doesn't. And greater than 50% of the time, my hunches about stuff like that are correct. And so my hunch, it's not purely a hunch that Jason's vision was damaged by COVID. It's also backed up by a lot of the research that people like Danielle Beckwith, I think her name is, something like that. She's a scientist who's active on Blue Sky, who leads much of the COVID brain damage related research. It bothers me when she calls the brain damage caused by COVID, she considers it to be autism or ADHD. I went on a long Blue Sky thread about how it's important to acknowledge and study the brain damage caused by COVID, but don't fucking call it ADHD or autism. Do not call COVID damage autism or ADHD. Aside from how it makes the lives of those of us who are autistic and ADHD worse by treating it like it's some sort of disease, the other problem is, I think, especially as middle-aged autistics, we kind of know what's going on here if we participate in autistic liberation and stuff like that. What's going on here is that there are a bunch of traits and tendencies that these researchers have decided are autism, and they do see a causational relationship between COVID and how their brains have changed that way. And because they're either neurotypical or they're closeted or internally ableist autistic people, they confuse other symptoms of brain damage with autism. Now, an autistic person can have COVID-related brain damage, but those are still, and maybe COVID-related brain damage impacts an autistic person differently than it does a neurotypical person. Those are all avenues that are reasonable to explore, but to consider COVID brain damage directly the same thing as autism or ADHD is messed up. So that's the one ideological problem I have with Danielle. But otherwise, she does a ton of research about all the brain damage caused by COVID, and a lot of it is structural things that she sees in the lab, looking at samples of gray matter tissue and stuff like that, and brain scans and whatnot. And yeah, correlation doesn't always equal causation, but I'm pretty sure that the methodology of some of her research has strongly suggested or proven causational relationships. We tried to account for the idea that correlation isn't causation by finding other ways to determine causational relationships. And that, the brain damage caused by COVID, to me is the scariest part about COVID. Because your brain is who you are. That's what my dad always said. Your brain is who you are. If I lost both of my legs, or I became paraplegic, but in my legs, so I was unable to walk. Honestly, it would be a psychological adjustment period. It would suck. It would take some adjusting. I could adapt pretty well if I had a wheelchair accessible building, if I could get a good wheelchair and had a good wheelchair accessible building. My building is actually very wheelchair accessible, believe it or not. Modern apartment tower. So it is possible to get to this high-rise apartment in a wheelchair. But a lot of the world isn't that accessible, and also good wheelchairs that you'd be comfortable in for, your whole day, your whole waking hours and all that you can live in and whatnot. I know from being active in the disability community can cost like several $1,000s. And a lot of physically disabled people who need wheelchairs do not have the wheelchairs that they need because they're so expensive. But assuming that I had, wheelchair accessible home, wheelchair accessible buildings, good wheelchair, I could get my wheelchair repaired and maintained over time, no problems. I would, put some bars in my bathroom and whatnot so I could bathe myself without assistance, even though I won't be able to move my legs anymore, that sort of thing. It would be a psychological blow. I would have to adjust emotionally, but I would adjust and adapt. And I would be Kim Crawley. I would be Kim Crawley, the wheelchair user, right? My identity would be intact. I would be me still. I would just have an adjustment period, that's all. Now, if my brain was damaged, that would be completely different, because your brain is who you are, as my dad always said. So it changes your personality and how you think about things and whatnot. And to me, that is incredibly scary. The idea of a virus changing who you are is very, very scary to me. Very, very scary. So that is my single greatest motivating factor for going out of my way to avoid COVID, is I don't want a virus to change the organ that provides the biological structure for who I am. It's that simple. Ailments of my physical body, or if I need a wheelchair or whatever, I could adapt to that. I could even adapt to being deaf or being blind, as long as I wasn't both deaf and blind. I think I could adapt. It would be a real bummer. There might be a period of depression adjusting to that. But ultimately I would be me. I would just be a modified me that interacts with the world differently. But if you change my brain, you change my brain in like fundamental personality cognition ways, that is really creepy. Consume and show your smile, exactly. And then people are also damaging their brains by delegating their thinking to ChatGPT. That has also been shown to cause brain damage. So I think we're already starting to enter a world of zombies pretty much. Yes, consume long COVID first, I agree. So only cybersecurity related questions from me have to be paid for. Any non-cybersecurity related questions or questions for my teddy bear, those are freebies. I want my phone to be my mommy and girlfriend. Yeah, isn't that creepy? That is super creepy. I have a very part-time, low-paying cybersecurity media job. And my boss at that job, Secure Nation, is addicted to, I'm not kidding, he is totally addicted to ChatGPT. He is a clanker. And I keep my interactions with him as minimal as possible. Oh, my donation link, Katie, look at the inlay. Look at the inlay. Oh, wait. Oh, I see the problem. Okay, no, it's there. Katie, look at the bottom right corner. And everyone, you can look at the bottom right corner of the inlay. That's how you donate to Ko-Fi. I think you can click on that, but if you can't, that's the URL. That's how you send money, is you look bottom right corner.
Give her monies.
Ossington. Yeah, it's the bottom right corner, folks. Thank you so much. Oh, we got 6 people now. Hi, everyone. Aww. Yeah, if you got any questions for my bear, you'll answer them. Yeah, freebasing the. Yeah. Exactly, Jenny. There are still people, I don't know if you saw Sheep and Frogs post earlier today. There are still people who think that the world dropped all COVID safety in early 22 because the virus suddenly became milder. Which is absolutely terrifying. I hear sound effects. Is something going on? Ossington is smarter than 99% of humanity. Aww. Okay, we got a donation. Why didn't it show up in my little widget thing? Let's check it out here. Oh, wow. Katie, oh, thank you, Katie. Katie, that's very generous. I can answer 5 questions for you if you'd like. I think you were going to ask me about the new European idea of spying on people's phone calls, like the whole chat message thing, right? Yeah, you know, a lot of friends who got maladies quickly and unusually in the past few years. Yeah, and they don't clue in. Did you have any success explaining to your friends? Hey, society collapse. Did you have any success explaining to your friends that their new maladies are COVID related? Anyway, Katie, to make my job easier, please type your questions in the chat. I would be very happy to answer your question. Maybe I have to reload here. Okay. Yeah, okay, so with now new EU laws being suggested that would enable mass spying of people's messages, how do you avoid being surveilled? I have kind of an unusual approach, which is it might not work very well for everyone, but do you know about Tor? Does anyone here know what Tor is? The Onion Router network? No, they put their head. Oh, that you want them to just because you're telling them the truth, you want them to suffer. Wow, I'm so sorry about that. People are deep in denial. How do we, for COVID, okay, so for COVID, I think for COVID, the best that we can do is find our little communities online. If one of us had a ton of money, we could start our COVID commune. Unfortunately, Those of us who are people of ordinary means, those of us who are doing our best to, we don't really have a Mark Cuban or any billionaires or even like people with hundreds of millions of dollars in our ranks who would build a COVID-safe commune that we could seek refuge in. So we gotta stick to online spaces and then communities and meeting groups in large cities and stuff like that. Now, as far as communication, I think I'm kind of, is this, your question is, yeah, AI psychosis is a thing. Katie, is your question about how Europeans can protect themselves from being surveilled by their government? Yeah, us COVID safe people are hated. Absolutely hated. By the way, everyone, Katie, as in Bronautica, donated $50 Canadian to my Ko-Fi. Okay. A problem with commercial VPNs is A, you got to trust the VPN provider, and B, governments doing surveillance are probably making a list of IP addresses that are related to the VPN providers. That's why sometimes if someone tries to use a commercial VPN to evade region locking in Netflix, for instance, sometimes Netflix catches on to that because Netflix has a list of IP addresses that they associate with commercial VPN providers. So here are some things that you can consider. You can deploy your own VPN. The easiest way to do that is to buy a Raspberry Pi computer on a card device. They're very inexpensive, maybe like 20 or 30 euros. They're very inexpensive. It's just like a mobile computer on a card. I can share links with you or other people about how to turn that into a VPN server. But in a nutshell, you can install the Raspbian operating system on your Raspberry Pi and install an OpenVPN server. And if you follow all the very nerdy instructions in the documentation written by very nerdy nerds, you can keep that device running in your home at all times and connect, your phone and your laptop and your other endpoints at home to your Raspberry Pi hosted VPN server remotely. And you can have your own VPN server, not for absolutely free, because it's the cost of the Raspberry Pi device for, let's say, 30 euros or so. And it might cost no, I think in Europe we're pretty good when it comes to internet providers. So any extra traffic driven by having your own VPN server is not going to be significant anyway. You've got to follow the documentation that OpenVPN provides you. You can deploy your own VPN server, so that's one. Two, use apps that have built-in cryptography, that have cryptography that are deployed in a way that definitely makes me feel good. So Signal's one of them. We already use Signal. And the only major side channel attack on a Signal communication is if a Signal user takes screenshots or video footage of their Signal usage. Or, yeah, if you let someone into your group who is untrustworthy, that's how some of those American scandals have leaked out of Signal lately. But otherwise, as long as you don't go into a group with anyone untrustworthy, your security in Signal is absolutely excellent, and your communications should be confidential from the government, as long as you don't let the wrong person into your chat group. So using Signal is another great thing. And then using Tor. So Tor is the onion router. So Tor is a whole network of proxy servers that you can route the internet through. It's called the onion router. And there's also a whole bunch of websites and whatnot that are designed to only be accessible through Tor. So when it's break time, I will drop links for OpenVPN and Raspberry Pi. You already use Signal, but if there are any other viewers who want to get into using Signal, there's that. And maybe a guide to the Tor browser and how to use Tor properly. Fortunately, using Tor and using Signal are still completely lawful all throughout Europe. You're not breaking the law by using Tor browser or Signal or anything like that. With fascism worsening, that might change. But for the time being, VPNs and Tor and Signal are still completely lawful. In the UK, they're starting to crack down on VPNs. Yeah. I'll drop you the links, yeah. So everything that I'm advising you to do is completely lawful as of now. Things would be getting pretty darn fascist in Europe for Tor and Signal and VPNs to be illegal. Obviously, the UK is a lot more advanced in the development of fascism right now. So, but there's lots of ways to use those things even if they become illegal. For many, many years now, many years, Chinese people in China have used VPNs and Tor and whatnot to evade the so-called Great Firewall of China, to the extent where it's completely normal for a technologically savvy Chinese person to use a VPN and to use Tor. So, and they don't tend to get caught or get into any trouble. It's like most of us have smoked marijuana when it wasn't legal. Or we know people who have smoked marijuana when it wasn't legal, right? Very, very seldom did those people get in trouble for it, right? Now, if you were a black person in the United States, that's different. If they want to find a reason to criminalize you, that's a large reason why all those drugs are made illegal. for racist reasons. But if you're a privileged white middle class person in Canada, your odds of getting into criminal trouble for using marijuana during the days before it was legalized were slim. So it's that way, kind of like with VPNs and Tor and whatnot in China. It's illegal. Evading the Great Firewall of China with that stuff is illegal. But I don't think your average technologically savvy Chinese person ever got in trouble for it. I would much rather be a Chinese person in China right now. Great Firewall of China. Otherwise, I think Chinese people have a hell of a lot more freedom and well-being than people do in the United States and Western Europe. Anyway, when I take a break in an hour or so, I will drop links for all that stuff. It's all completely lawful. If I was in the UK right now, with how they're cracking down on VPN, what I would do if I was in the UK specifically is I would deploy my own open VPN server. Because the only way that the British government can effectively stop people or catch people in using VPNs is if they use commercial VPNs or VPNs that the government otherwise knows the IP addresses for. So if you run your own private VPN server just for yourself, you're many times over less likely to be caught by the British government using it, because the only way that they can really crack down on that stuff is by having a list of IP addresses for commercial VPN providers like NordVPN and whatnot. Surfshark. The list goes on. They might even at one point make commercial VPN providers illegal. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happens at some point. But yeah, if I was in the UK right now, the UK specifically, because they're cracking down on VPNs, I would definitely deploy my own VPN server. Also, the fact that they're cracking down on commercial VPNs so much indicates to me that they are doing some really batshit surveillance on ordinary Brits. So they say it's like to protect the children and all that. You can't have 17-year-olds accidentally looking at stuff that's mildly pornographic, right? But they're really cracking down on the general population. It's a way to think of the children, of course, has been a way to advance the erosion of people's rights for many years now. In the 1990s and 2000 noughts, these British politicians had no problems with young children stumbling upon the page 3 girl in their favorite tabloid. But now they're using it as an excuse to crack down on people. I'm so thirsty. I'm so thirsty, folks. Sorry, I'm gonna take a quick pause. Pause the game. And I'll put the pause screen on OBS, and we'll use a washroom, right? And we'll I'm getting dry mouth, so I'm getting dry mouth. Is there anything that you want to say to these folks before we go on to like a 2-minute break?
We'll be back, okay? I like you.
Aww. Oh, you good bear. Okay. We'll be back. I'm so thirsty. Okay, let's get those links for you folks. Okay, so we're gonna put some useful links in here. So there's a place where you can buy Raspberry Pis that's based in Denmark. There's another useful link for buying Raspberry Pis. And here's a link for Open VPN software. Oh, here's the instructions for turning a Raspberry Pi into an Open VPN server. You already use Signal app, but just in case there's anyone in the chat who doesn't, there's Signal app. And here's the URL for the Tor project. And there should also be a lot of handy documentation about how to use it and set it up and all that. Anyway, so I hope that's useful. Let's get back to some PowerWash Simulator.
Let's play PowerWash Simulator.
Aww. Yeah, you're right though. He is like way smarter than most humans. Okay. We're making some good progress here, and I got a beverage. Another swimming pool. This is ridiculous. Putting these swimming pools, these cruise ships. If I clean this glass thing here, you can see the ocean. What do you think of that, Ossington? I know. It's pretty ridiculous. Why the hell do human beings put swimming pools right on the ocean? Cruise ships are obscene. I am. So how would you folks feel about me playing a different game on Sunday? I was thinking about RimWorld with a bunch of mods installed. So RimWorld or Lens Island. I'll give you a choice of RimWorld, Lens Island, or Fields of Mystria. If it's Fields of Mystria or Lens Island, I'm starting afresh. What do you folks think? RimWorld, Lens Island, Fields of Mystria. I know you're saying, play what you feel like playing. But those are 3 games that I feel like playing all of them. So make your choice. I didn't put Dark Souls in there because that's not a game I would feel like playing. So we've got Lens Island, RimWorld with a whole bunch of mods, Fields of Mystria. I'll let you folks work that out in the comments. If none of you make a decision, then I will have my teddy bear make the decision. Ossington, do you have like a preference between those three games? Okay, well you're not helping then, are you? You just want me to keep on playing PowerWash Simulator. Okay. I might disappoint you, Ossington. Yeah. Look at these gnomes. Nice. Yeah, you're right. If the germs were visible, they'd look like this soot. You're absolutely right. got some muck over here. So thirsty, so thirsty. It's Lens Island. Do you like Lens Island? We can do Lens Island. We'll do Lens Island. What do you think of Lens Island, Ossington? Okay, that sounds like an idea. Someone already gave me monies. But, you know, more people want to give me monies, I'm not going to stop them. That's what you think your job is, though, don't you? You can't really see from this angle, but Ossington's eyes are glued to this game. He loves PowerWash Simulator so much. I think this would be a good game for cats to watch, too. very satisfying. Yeah. Got that cleaned. Yeah, cruise ships are gross. Ooh, this is very satisfying to remove the grime from like large surfaces like that. There we go. Yeah, in real life, cruise ships are a blight on humanity. Yeah, I was on earlier. Yeah, we did a noon to 4 p.m. Eastern session earlier today. I'm trying to experiment with different times and whatnot. And brought my teddy bear along. See if you can drum up some more viewers too, right? Because people love teddy bears, right? Like, there you go. You heard him. You have anything else to say? Okay, good to know. Yeah, yeah, because this session started at 6 p.m. Eastern. So satisfied. Katie was like, you need proper PPE to clean a cruise ship because they're so filthy with like viruses and stuff. And I said, and then I showed her what the PowerWash Simulator guy's outfit looks like, and she was like, yeah, that's good PPE. Nothing like standing on top of a palm tree to clean it. Oh, when they saw that the buffet was being rationed, the all-inclusive passengers demanded to speak to the captain. Wow, must be Americans, eh? Yeah. Cruise ships are like guaranteed to get infected with COVID and various, and before COVID there was lots of other things you also had to worry about, like E. coli and various other diseases. And now all those diseases you still got to worry about, and also COVID. Norovirus, yeah. My friend was disabled by norovirus. I had a norovirus infection when I was 19 that I recovered from. I caught it at a shelter. But when my friend caught norovirus, it developed into long norovirus. You never know what's going to happen to you. Even the acute stage of norovirus is absolutely horrible. And that's a regular occurrence on cruise ships, getting infected with norovirus. And that was before COVID. Now you gotta worry about COVID and norovirus and hepatitis and bacteria like E. coli and stuff like that, salmonella. And cruise ships are just petri dishes full of disease. Tip of that. There we go. Very satisfying. Do you want some Oz? Oh, here, take a proper sip. Oh, got some on your chin. There you go. Yeah, get some weed. My teddy bear likes weed if you ever wanted to share with him. He's a regular stoner. How does weed make you feel, Ossington? Oh, he gets extra cuddly when he's stoned. Holy shit. Oh, I can fall down there. Oh, I better be careful. anyone else ever watched Lens or played Lens Island? I think one thing I might do with PS5 when I get it is when Ghost of Yotai comes out. That's going to be a PS5 exclusive for a while before it comes on PC. That PS5 will empower me to buy Ghost of Yotai, which will have to be a download, because it's the download-only version of the console. This storage only. But I'll be able to play Ghost of Yotai when it comes out and maybe stream it for you folks. I played Ghost of Tsushima on my PS4, and that was a good game. That was such a good game. Holy cow. How do you folks feel about Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotai? Ghost of Yotai is a sequel. It's coming out in a few months, I think. I can tell you what game I am not hyped for, which is Grand Theft Auto 6. I am not hyped for that game at all. I am certain that being the most expensive video game ever made, it is going to be an absolute dud. A dud relative to something that Rockstar spent $1 billion on. You know what I mean? We see this pattern. Because, you know, if there's ever going to be the very first quadruple A game, it will be Grand Theft Auto 6, right? Like, it's got a budget larger than, like, James Cameron's Titanic, right? Might be the most expensive single media project of all time. If you think of a media project as, like, a video game, a TV show, a feature film, right? So in that context, it might be the single most expensive individual media project of all time like that. I think one of the problems under capitalism with projects getting that outrageously expensive to do is the more expensive an entertainment media project gets, the more that corporate executives will force you to make it a game that appeals to everyone and appeals to no one and monetizes every single opportunity like crazy, like brand new ways to shoehorn monetization to a game and stuff like that. And it's going to be so bland. I've seen YouTube channels made by former people who used to work at Rockstar, like in the art department and whatnot, talking about how they left because they weren't allowed like any freedom as artists anymore because of all the corporate control. And the fact that it's taking so long and it's getting like into like $1 billion or more to develop, I think that probably means that it's gonna be a real dud. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 was is an okay game. Like, it's not my favorite kind of game. I'm someone who likes JRPGs and fun indies and stuff, but I played Grand Theft Auto 5 several years ago, back in like 2017, I think. And it was the single player campaign and playing those three different guys and all that. It was fun, but now it's gonna be a total fucking mess. So, but my ex, before he broke up with me, he was saying, "Aren't you expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to be such an amazing game?" And I was like, no, there's no way that a project that big money, big corporate, and seeing what we're seeing happen to the gaming industry now, there's no way that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a good game. Be an expensive game, be a very flashy, visually impressive game, but it won't be a good game, like a fun game to play. You're definitely looking at it as a vehicle for Grand Theft, of course. So maybe one of the problems with Grand Theft Auto 6 will be so much of the content will be paywalled for Grand Theft Auto Online 2 subscribers only, right? Or stuff specifically designed to lure you into Grand Theft Auto Online 2, because that's where the actual, like, recurring money comes from, right? The only Western games I'll play now are indies, or maybe like single A, double A desert at most. Like, PowerWash Simulator is from a dev studio called Future Lab, based in the UK. That's as far as Western studios is concerned, that's as big of a Western studio as I really want to play a game from these days, because all the actually big Western studios, all the actual AAAs, are all just pushing this corporate soulless crap on the people. And it'll probably suck. If you want to play good games these days, you play old games, play retro games, or you play Japanese games, or it's getting more and more that you're also playing like Chinese games and Korean games. Some Chinese, I'm not, as far as Chinese games are concerned, I don't like gacha games. I'm not going to get into like Genshin Impact or anything like that. But there are Chinese games that are not gacha games that are really, really good. I played Sword and Fairy 7 a while back. There's a AAA game by a Chinese developer that was very, very popular earlier this year with the Gamer Boys. It had Start a Monkey or something like that. And like really cutting edge graphics and all that shit. But had like, it was based on some sort of Chinese monkey myth or something like that. But that did really well. You'd be surprised how many games that are completely Chinese in origin you can get off of Steam now that are really good, and they're not gacha games. Although most of the money in the Chinese video game industry is probably gacha games like Genshin Impact and other horror stuff, and I won't touch that stuff. I'm a huge Persona fan, massive Persona fan. I mean, I got like a, where's my Futaba? I've got like a, you see that? I don't, not sure if you can see it. I've got a Futaba Sakura tattoo on my arm. She's the autistic character in Persona 5. I have never played Persona 5 The Phantom X. I refuse to touch that game. If you're playing mobile games really like well designed for mobile, in my opinion, your best bet is to go to Countersoft games. There are other games too that are from indie developers that you pay for up front, like $2, $5, $10. And those are good games. You really gotta hunt for them carefully, but there are mobile games out there that are not, free to play, microtransactions and all that. There are games that are actually really good. The Android and iOS games I would consider would be ones that would be either Kairosoft games or games from like little indie developers that really take off, like Monument Valley and stuff like that. Or now we know what's going on with itch.io, but if you can find something similar to the Android games and the iOS games that people develop and distribute on itch.io, like those super indies, that could be good too. But anything with like free to play microtransactions, gacha games, all that, I won't touch that shit anymore. Life is too short to be playing a game not because it's fun, but because you feel a compulsion to play it without it being fun. I would like a Persona 5 Royal with cheese stream. With cheese? Okay, so how do we put cheese in there? I could buy the PC version. I played Persona 5 Royal on my PS4, but if there's a big demand for me to play it, I've got some money coming in, I could buy the PC version and play that. Or, no, I don't think Persona... I'm sure the stream capture card would work with the PS4. I could connect to the PS4 and I could just play the PS4 version of Persona 5 Royal on Twitch. I could do that too. It's the last time I played Persona 5 Royal was the year it came out, 2020. So it's been enough time has elapsed that I could play it again the second time. This time play it on Twitch. Yeah, oh yeah, well, except the version of PS5 console I'm getting is no disc. But I can take the capture card and connect it to the PS4 and do it that way. I know a lot of PS4, PS5 cross-platform games. If you buy the PS4 version, there's a download code to get the PS5 version. But I don't think Persona 5 Royal is one of those games. I think that came out before the PS5, and so before that program came out. Okay, we are almost done here. So you folks, I'm looking at the messages here. What do you think? Oh yeah, the Monkey King. Yeah. We're thinking about it, but we're thinking about the same game. It's like really high-end Chinese PC game, really like cutting-edge graphics, based on a Chinese myth with a monkey, and it's got like lots of martial arts. So it's Chinese martial arts are probably kung fu, and it's really violent and a lot of fun. Yeah, that game was really commercially successful, and I will almost definitely buy and play Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Probably get the PC version of that. My PC can run that game, I'm pretty sure. So play Claire Obscure Expedition 33. The only caveat is I need to start getting some money coming in. I get some money coming in, then I can start justifying spending $40 on a game to stream it. But I told you one thing I will be trying in the near future is I will play the Super Famicom in an emulator, Sailor Moon Another Story JRPG, and I'll stream it for you folks. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. Black Myth Wukong. You found it. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That was a big commercial. So I think you can take like American AAA games out of the equation. You can expect those to be bad games now. If you need like a real AAA cutting edge graphics open world experience, go for something Japanese, Korean, European, Chinese developed, not American. and otherwise retro games and indie games. Because American AAA games are going to be crap. And I know that Rockstar, I think technically the developers are in Scotland or whatever, but it's functionally an American studio, owned by an American corporation by now and all that stuff, right? So whereas Clair Obscur is definitely a European developed game, we can consider GTA 6 to be an American game that was largely developed in Scotland. What do you think of that theory? Yeah, that's good. We're getting like well into our 40s and we still keep up with this shit. Good for us, eh? We're gonna be in the seniors care home talking about all the cutting edge new video games coming out. Okay, let's see. Which spots have I missed? Doors. Oh, okay, so the core tech, so like the middleware, like the engine, is mainly developed in San Diego, and then the creative stuff and the assets is mainly from the Scottish studio. Oh, well, there's a spot I missed. No, that's the door. That's the door. Infinity pool that? No. Infinity pool floor. There we go. Infinity pool steps. BioWare is essentially a Canadian-based studio that's essentially an American studio, especially since EA bought them all the way back in 2007 or whatever. So, all of your studios don't have to be physically in the actual United States for it to be an American studio. And we see how EA basically destroyed BioWare and a ton of other studios. But yeah, I have actually played some Chinese games that are relatively obscure, not super obscure. I wouldn't really call them obscure per se, but they're super popular mainstream games in China and in much of East Asia, but they're not quite as well known in the West. So Sword and Fairy is one of them. And I played the newer one, Sword and Fairy 7. It was actually really good. The translation is a little iffy at times. There were some all your bases belong to us kind of moments in the translation, but it did not deter from my enjoyment at all. And it was all, I think, Mandarin language audio. And I couldn't understand any of the Mandarin, obviously, but it was really good to have Mandarin language audio because the game is set in it's Wuxia, like a Wuxia, I'm mispronouncing it, Wuxia, like it's a Wuxia setting, like it's based out of like Chinese mythology. I'm mispronouncing it. Sorry if there are any Chinese people listening and I'm bastardizing your language. I greatly apologize. But it's like a Wuxia game or Wuxia game. So the fact that the audio was in Mandarin was actually very immersive. You know, it sounded like the characters were talking to each other in the language that they should be talking to each other in that setting. Whereas if there was an English language dub, it would kind of pull me out of the immersion a little bit. Yeah, the fact that BioWare survived Microsoft was impressive, yeah. Some of the people who led projects at BioWare during their golden days have made all kinds of YouTube videos about their experiences. They're worth watching. Where is this Rain Dome? There we go. It's really amazing how capitalism and corporate greed can ruin a video game studio. And that's why literally every single Western, especially American AAA studio is absolutely terrible now. You'll see all kinds of YouTube videos about it. Because those are the aspects of the video game industry that have been the most badly destroyed by capitalism. Talking about the Scottish studio that eventually became Rockstar North or whatever. That was, I forget the name, but it's the same studio that back in the day in the 90s made Lemmings, right? You can actually play the original DOS version of Lemmings in its entirety on archive.org for free. And a lot of these old DOS games are super easy to pirate and to play in an emulator. Probably DOSBox is your best option for that. But on archive.org, I'm sure some of you already know this, but to any of you who don't know this, they run the DOSBox emulator through a web application on archive.org, and you can play like one of like several hundred DOS games, including games that a lot of us millennials, like us elder millennials at least, in like Gen X and whatnot, are really nostalgic for. So like Lemmings, I don't think Commander Keen is on there, but Commander Keen games are very easy to pirate. You got most of the DOS games that we would be nostalgic for are there, and Lemmings is one of them. And I think they also have like the DOS version of Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, which is similar to the Commodore 64 version of Where in the World is Carmen San Diego. It'd be really cool to play those games again. So, if I was to stream Lemmings off of archive.org, which is totally something that I'd be able to do technologically, it would be very easy. Would you guys be into that? Would you guys be into Lemmings as another potential game to stream? DNA Design. That's what the studio was called before it became Rockstar, and they made Grand Theft Auto. There we go. Okay, I think I posted my schedule on social, but I will keep doing that. Thank you. Okay, I guess I can't fake enthusiasm. I promise you, Jenny, I will never play a game that I don't enjoy. Sometimes there are multiple games that I would equally enjoy playing. So I gave you folks the option. Lens Island, Fields of Mystria, RimWorld with a ton of mods that I add to it to make it easier. Because I like playing games like that on super easy. I like to relax while I play RimWorld. I do something similar for Dwarf Fortress. I put a lot of mods and tweaks at least to make a less stressful experience. I'm not one of those gamer guys who's like, get good. Okay, palm chunks are all we got left. Yeah, we could do a certain day to do older games like Lemmings and whatnot. That would be good. Lemmings would be a lot of fun to do on stream. There we go. Okay. I will keep repeating the schedule on social media, definitely. That's a good idea, thank you. There we go. Okay, so we got, I would say, about an hour and a half left. I and Ossington are going to take a very brief bathroom break, and then I think we will start a campaign of Lens Island. Because that's what you folks voted for, right? Lens Island. Yeah, and now that you got me that PS5, I can play. I'd have to obviously buy Ghost of Yotai, and it'll probably be like $80 or for a download or whatever. But hopefully, I should be in a position by then that I can buy the $80 game, and I would be very happy to stream Ghost of Yotai when it comes out. That would probably actually do fairly good numbers because it would be a new game that people will be curious to watch. Okay. Bathroom break time. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Yippee indeed. Alright, so let's start a new game of Lens Island. No, it's not available yet. Wait for it to load. Let's try again. I appreciate your patience today. Ossington, you got anything to say to these folks?
I like you, Katie. I like you.
Oh. You're just focusing on charming Katie.
Yeah.
Why the hell won't this launch? Oh, there we go, finally. Okay. Gotta make sure I've got the right input now. Okay, now I'm gonna have to do another window capture. Just gotta fiddle with this a little bit. I appreciate your patience. Window capture. There we go. I'm gonna position it properly. There we go. How does that look, folks? That looks good? Okay. Let's create a new game. Let's go for peaceful. What do you think, Oz? You excited about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're getting sleepy, aren't you? This game's got longer loading times. There we go. Let's build a house first. Make sure we got the right tool. Yeah, it's the right axe. Okay. Oh, wow, we got bees. Darn it. Let's change these. Yeah, that's fine. Let's fix these controls here. No. No. Attack. Right trigger. Blueberries will be useful. Oh, what's in that barrel? No, we got some parts that could be useful. Mine some stones. Good. Okay. No, 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 no. Aiming wrong. I will get the hang of this game soon. It's weird overhead camera stuff. There we go. I prefer, that's a better camera. Is this what northern Sweden is like, Katie? Okay, let's build some stuff. Yeah, we'll build a... Come on. No. clear more of these trees. The foundation of the house here. Still gotta get used to these controls here, they're annoying. Yes, equip, use, come on. I'm full of wood. Oh wow. So annoying. We'll put the doors. Yeah. I got an idea of what we're doing here. Oh, it's a window. I don't want that. right? Probably help if I put some these stairs there. No, it doesn't really work. It's wrong angle. Oh well. Oh, I'm out of resources now. I need some more wood. Okay. It's getting dark. Come on. Hmm. Let's make an anvil, I guess. Controls in this game, Jesus. I do not like the controls in this game. Okay, I need iron shard. In that case, then I'll just make a bed and we'll go to sleep for now. I do not like the nighttime. Yeah, let's go to sleep. Yes. Come on, no, I want to sleep. Oh, come on, no, it's not what I want. I hate the controls in this game. That's why I probably stopped playing it, because the controls were horrible. Trying to sleep, come on. This is so frustrating. Sleep. There we go. Let's find this mine in Bridgewater. Thank you. Okay. Is this the way into the mine? Okay. Good to know. Why isn't that working? Come on. I guess that isn't doing anything. I don't think my pickaxe is strong enough. Ooh. action and excitement here. Oh, no, you don't. Yeah! I've got a skill point. Where should I put it? There we go. Making any progress there. Is this where the iron shards are? Oh, I guess I can't go there. Finally. Why no iron shards? Tungsten ore, coal. Okay, that's coal. That's what iron. Okay. Okay, I think I get it. Oh, this is promising. This could be the iron shards. Yes. Okay, let's get back. We were successful, folks. We got some iron shards. Oh. I don't have enough wood to go back there with wood. get back? Oh, this might be it. No. There we go. There we go. Yeah. I don't like it. Them there caves. There we go. Build the anvil. There we go. Now let's upgrade our knife. Yeah, we can do it. We did it! So now the next quest is unlocking the dungeon. Go to the dungeon entrance and light the obelisk. Okay. Okay, those are the keystones. You gotta light the obelisk and then activate the keystones. We'll go to sleep for now. It was a good day we had. I am getting a little sleepy. And it's not Project Zomboid, it's Lens Island. I am feeling kind of sleepy. I am, well, okay, we'll go to the dungeon entrance anyway. We'll do this. We've got a new person here that I need to please, so we're gonna go over here. Do the obelisk thing. Yeah, I like that sword. some sort of code I don't understand. Looking for the other keystones. It's very frustrating. Oh, I get it. Okay. Let's go to the other. Okay, I get it. Learning curve. I gotta go to where it says so on the map. Let's swim a little bit. Oh, it's this. Oh, I got a peach. And there's a barrel here. So somewhere here is the other. Oh, nice. Interesting. I might want my sword. Oh no. I didn't mean to go into the mine. peaches here. Moving to the country, gonna eat my peaches. There's an old song. Again, is one of these the key? Oh, that's the keystone? Okay. Yeah, let's learn this ancient language and stuff. Yes. Okay, but where's the keystone? No, you don't. Come on. Where the heck is this keystone? Is it really in the mine? Okay. Is that it? Oh, okay. Well. There we go. Want some Oz?
It's scary.
Really? You think it's scary?
Yeah. Hey!
Okay, let's go north now. No, really, is there nowhere to the other side unless I fix that bridge? What does it need? I think it's forcing me to fix that bridge in order to cross over there. Okay, I just need 25 wood. Okay. No, I still need... Yes, prepare. There we go. There it is, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I hate the nighttime. I'm gonna go home and go to sleep, and then we'll end this stream for today. And you can tell me if on Sunday you want to play more Lens Island or something else. Yeah, it's very annoying controls. I'm gonna go south. I'm a scaredy cat gamer. I don't like the nighttime. It gives me the creeps. There we go. Home sweet home. Okay, let's go to sleep. There we go. All right, everyone. So I will return noon Eastern on Sunday. I will return and we can play Lens Island or play PowerWash Simulator or maybe play Fields of Mystria. Or we play RimWorld with lots of nice mods on it. What do you guys think of that? Nightbot. Okay, I will look into that. Thank you very much. All right. So, Ossington, you got anything to say to everyone before we go? We'll see them again on Sunday. No. He's shy. His job is to help me sleep now. So he's going to go and help me sleep. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. I will see you on Sunday, noon Eastern.